Good afternoon, badass artists. I'm Mia Luyando. Today we are going to work on this dark skin tutorial. It is from our newest book, Peppermint Tea. I hope everyone has received their copy from Amazon. I just received mine. We have already done one tutorial or two, one or two. I'm not sure. I've lost track already. But today we are going to work on just chalk pastel pencils. These are by request. Let me grab the 10 over here. These are made by Kalour, and as you can see, these are soft pastel colored pencils. This is a 72 pack. I will put these in the description below. I'm going to set these off to the side. Now they come with a little color swatch chart. I haven't put these in the big swatch book yet, but I did manage to get this one done before we started the tutorial. And as you can see, they have some beautiful vibrant colors. They're also pretty heavy in the pretty browns over here. So that's what we're going to be using for the skin tone today. We're going to be using quite a few. We're going to use this golden yellow deep. We're going to use, I think, maybe the Inca yellow. We're going to start with burnt umber and probably the Van Dyke brown. But you know, we're going to grab a couple of these colors and we're just going to dive right in. So without further ado, also, like I said, we're not going to use a marker under painting or anything like that. This is just straight charcoal pencils. This was by request, and I love it. Thank you guys so much for letting me know when you're struggling with a different art supply, when there's something that, you know, maybe is just sitting on your shelf at home and you're feeling intimidated by it. Let me know. I'm pretty sure I've got art supplies around here. I've got charcoal pencils. I've got oil pastels. We're working on those this week. If you're feeling intimidated by something, let me know. I can do a video and we will work on it together. Also, I have done a few videos where I'm blending things with my fingers, and a couple of you said, hey, show us these blending stumps that you're talking about, these cotton buds too. Everybody's got little cotton buds. Those are just things that you can pick up at the pharmacy or the just regular home shop. But these are things that you can pick up on Amazon or at the hobby store. This is just a little paper blending stump is what they're called. And this is something that's a little bit more structured for pastel, people who work with pastels or charcoal, chalk pastels. You know, they're more tailored, so to speak. It's just a little spongy, almost like a makeup applicator on this end. Same on this end, is a little more rubbery. It has a little bit more give. And there are about 2 or 3 different sizes of these that come in the pack of, I think it's a pack of 3, but I'll put those in the description as well. So jumping right in, I'm going to start with, let's see, what color did I want to start with? I think raw umber. Let me find this over here. And I will also say, before we jump in too deeply, these do not sharpen. These are chalk, and they're very soft, very, very soft. When you put these in your electric pencil sharpener at home, you're probably going to be disappointed. They're probably going to break for you. They're really not made for that, you know, grinding electrical pencil sharpener. So if you have a manual pencil sharpener, you're probably going to have better luck with that when it comes to these kinds of pencils. Just a heads up. I don't want you to feel disappointed when you put it in there and it breaks and you have to keep sharpening and sharpening, and you really never get a good sharp point for it. So just a heads up there. Now we're going to go in and we're just going to very lightly, I'm going to zoom us in. There we go. We're just going to very lightly add some color along the upper area of her forehead. I misplaced my little rag for my fingers. I get dusty when we're doing this. Set that there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my finger and just rub this to blend it. And as you can see, that color starts to just kind of easily move around and fill in. I didn't have to fill every little space to get that color coverage. Now, for those of you saying, now, wait a second, you've got some blending stumps over there. I'm gonna use that on this side so you can see the difference between your finger and the blending stump. Now you could cover every little, square inch of area that needs to be colored. That's fine if you want to. I usually just kind of drag it around and blend it with my finger. And there you have it. It's very powdery and soft, and it'll get on the end of your blending stump. You'll carry that color with you, so you need to remember that it's there. You don't want to jump into a lighter portion of your portrait later, forget it's there, and then kind of have that smudged color in there. How do you get it off? You can wipe it on something, or what I do is I get like a nail file or a piece of sandpaper, and I'll scrub away at it until it's gone, or I'll get a scratch piece of paper and just keep rubbing and rubbing kind of vigorously until I can see that there's no more color on it before I start another one. So I'm going to come down here to the shadowy parts of her eye, and I'm going to add this color in. And it's very chalky and soft. You'll get a really nice, it'll move around for you very nicely. And if you see that you've got a lot of crumbs, a lot of crumbly, let me see if I can zoom in any closer. You can see how many crumbs are there. Sometimes I'll blow it away, the excess, before I start to smooth it out. But if I'm using my finger, I kind of just use that to my advantage and push out a little farther to get a little extra coverage with the color. And you can see a little goes a long way. So depending on how saturated with the color you want her to be, you can see that the color is right there on your finger. That's why I keep the little towel close by to, kind of wipe that away so I'm not making a complete mess. I'm a messy artist, so I walk into every project kind of knowing I'm gonna have a little mess, but I try not to be extreme. And just add this dark color in to where the shadows and the contours of the face are darkest. Now on this side I'm going to use that other applicator to show you how easily that blends as well. I just feel like it picks up the product, like it absorbs the product, whereas with my finger I'm sure that all of the product is on the paper or my finger. I don't feel like I lose as much product when I use my finger. But here's this little applicator thing here, and I'm gonna smooth this in. You have a little more control, I guess. And it doesn't grind itself down into the paper. You have to give it a little more pressure to do that, whereas with your finger you can kind of push it down into the the fibers of the paper right away. But they both give a very pretty effect. I like the blending stump, and I like this applicator as well. They're both very pretty. So it's it's really more about a personal choice. If you don't like to get your hands dirty, this is definitely a good choice for you. And I am completely understanding. I get it. And I'm just going to kind of finish up with my finger there. But you can see how beautifully that that the applicator works, and how pretty that color lays down. So I'm going to keep this here handy as we press on with this raw umber. And I forgot to show you the number. It's raw umber. It's number P069 in the Kalour. I'm going to add over here to the outer part of her eye. And I'm going to go right around the under part of her eye. Those lower lashes lend a nice shadow, and I usually accentuate that. That is just a style thing. You don't have to do it. But we are going to accentuate her eyelashes quite a bit on this. So I'm going to do quite a bit of shadowing under her eye right now. And you can make her as dark or as mocha latte in appearance as you like. I thought we would kind of take this one to a darker complexion, just, for learning's sake. Sometimes a darker complexion is a little intimidating, and I just wanted you guys to see that even with chalk pencils, this is just pigment and paper. We can do this, not to let it bully you. Don't feel intimidated by it. We can definitely do this together. And we are going to, come out of this with a beautiful chocolatey complexion for this little girl. And she is a cutie. Now I'm going to add this to the shadowy parts of her nose. Centered here. And I'm going to do her ear so I don't forget. And it's fairly well in the shadows. Our eyes will fill in a lot that we can't see. Our eyes do that for us. It tricks us into seeing things that aren't actually there. We're just going to work this color on around. And don't worry if you get the color, over the little decorations that are on her face, the little embellishments there. We will go back over that with a lighter pencil later when we're adding details. That is not a problem at all. We can do anything. We are badass artists. And this weekend I will be releasing a swatching video of some beautiful oil pastels. And that is also by request. And we'll be doing some fun things with those next week. I'm just going to get this color nice and worked in. Now I'm going to add just a bit to her neck and her shoulder area, even though that's not really what we're concentrating on. I don't want to skip it while I've got the pencils out. I'm going to smooth this in with our blender. Blow away the excess. I'm gonna zoom us out so you can watch me do just this little collarbone area very quickly. I'm just adding the color to where I want it to highlight, or to shadow, I mean. And the little applicator is definitely more helpful when you're trying to just get into little tiny spaces and you don't want your finger to drag it over into other areas. It does lend, you know, a bit more control. Now this is chalk, so if you run your hand over it, it's definitely going to smudge. So you have to be a bit careful. You don't want to just drag your hand along. There are fixative sprays that you can get at the very end of your project to spray on there, so it's, you know, it'll set it. I've used hairspray before. It can discolor your work, though. You don't want to just try. If you're not worried about it and you want to try hairspray, you can, but they are pretty inexpensive fixative sprays, and I will link those. Krylon varnish is usually the cheapest. You can find that at a lot of places. Walmart carries it in the hobby area. Myers carries it, Target, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and of course you can get it from Amazon as well if you don't feel like getting out and you just want them to bring it to the door, like me. I'd rather they just bring my stuff to me. But I have Amazon Prime, since the Amazon guy is bringing me stuff, you know, 3 or 4 times a week sometimes. My husband also gets a lot of things for his business from Amazon, so it behooves us to have Amazon Prime. I know not all of you have that, so it's not always convenient to order from Amazon, and I get that. Okay, now I'm going to jump over to a different color. I'm going to get this, let's see, Burnt Umber. It's number P047. Let me set this one to the side so I don't forget what I was using. And I'm going to go up here. Let me zoom back in again, just a little bit. And I'm going to work this color. It's a little bit lighter. It's got a little more yellow in it. And I'm going to kind of work this in. Let's see how it blends. Well, let's get the blender and see if it blends better with that. Yep, a little better with that. just going to add that color in. It's a golden sort of, it has almost a bronzy look to it, or a golden undertone, and it's really, really pretty. I'm going to add just a touch of it up here. I think we'll stick with this blender for a minute. And a little over here, not a lot, it's just a little bit of flesh peeking up over here. Okay, I'm going to add over here. And these are nice and chalky, but this one doesn't feel as dusty as the other, as the raw umber did. Some colors are just a little softer than the others, and it's more about the pigment. The pigments make them softer. So I'm just very lightly adding this color. And I didn't mind that that other color was already on there because we were blending it into that color. Now, if I had been using, let's say, a green or a pale flesh, like a, a peachy color, I would have definitely wanted to get rid of that color first or use a fresh one, so I didn't get that darker umber color mixed into it. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to try to get this video up on Saturday so that you guys can enjoy a weekend project. But yeah, definitely let me know what you're working on, if there's special products that you'd like me to review or just try out or show you how to use. I'm always happy. I'm going to be making videos one way or the other. I would like to know that they're helpful, That's why, giving me a thumbs up is always helpful. My statistics say that for about every 100 people that watch the videos, only one person will give a thumbs up or will subscribe, which is fine, but I have to wonder, am I making the right kinds of videos? So when you guys give me the thumbs up, that lets me know that, hey, this is helpful, so I can continue making more like that. If you don't, then I don't really know if what I'm doing is helping or not. So let me know, okay? That's why I ask you to do it, so that I know if I'm doing the right thing. Or just give me a shout in the comments and say, hey, do more paint, or I like markers, show me more markers. That lets me know which direction to take, and that's very helpful. Well, for those of you who have liked the videos, who have subscribed to the channel, who can, consistently comment, thank you so much. It means so much to me. It really does. You guys are awesome. And you can see how that blends in so beautifully with the color behind it. And even though the first brown was more of a reddish brown, kind of an ox blood color, and this one has so much more yellow and gold in it that it just lays down over top of it so beautifully. Now, you don't have to have this brand of pencils. You can work with, Panda Fly. I've got the Panda Fly ones over here too. And there are similar colors in it. This one and this one, or that one. You can use a mix and match of several different pencils. So, if you have charcoal pencils at home, but they're just a different brand, just grab similar colors. You don't have to have the same thing as me. Just grab, the similar colors and dive in. It's an adventure. Just go for the joy of it. And I'm kind of liking the way this little embellishment looks on her face under this color. It's showing through really pretty. It looks almost like it's been painted a leaf gold. We might embellish that with a lighter gold later. I think that'll look really pretty. And just because this is a candy cane book doesn't mean that we have to stick with our, traditional colors of red and green. We can make these any color we want. We can do anything. This is our imagination is the limit. And let me tell you guys, I have a pretty overactive imagination, as you well know. We'll get creative with these colors. And I know a couple of you out there who are my regular viewers and also members of my Badass Art group are kind of like me. You love these rich, muted, earthy shades and the Morandi color palette. So you see exactly where I'm headed with this. Really getting a warm, golden, beautiful look with this. I'm going to zoom out a little and touch up her neck. I'm not going to put a lot in here because she's mostly in shadows, but I do want that suggestion underneath. And I'm just going to fill in what we didn't color in with the darker shade in her little chest area. And I'm not spending a lot of time, I'm just kind of pushing the color around here. We can go back in later and touch it up if we feel like we need to. I get picky about details in odd places, and this isn't one of them. And we had an interesting discussion in one of my chats, and that is about finishing pictures. And let me tell you, I don't finish a lot of pictures. I do the part that makes me happy, and then I move on to the next picture. If you are like that, let me know. I love doing skin tones, I love doing hair and eyes, and if the rest of the picture kind of bores me, I'll let it go. So let me know if you're like that too. Okay, the next color I'm going to grab is golden yellow. Let me see if I can find that here. Or golden, let's see, golden yellow deep. Okay, there it is, golden yellow deep. It's number P051. And it's kind of it looks like it's got a little bit of a green or a bronzy undertone to it. I'm going to add that right in here. Let's see, I'm going to make sure it's not too yellow. But we're going to go in here with peachy, like a peachy dark flesh tone as well. Let's see. That might be a little too yellow, but I'm going to continue on with it. We can go in with our other color if we need to. Okay, let me switch gears and go to ink and yellow. It's number P054. And it's got a little, it's in the same theme, but it's a little more brown. I'm gonna work that in. Oh yeah, that's better. A little less yellow. And that'll work right over top of that as well. Let me zoom you back in. Blend this in. And that is a beautiful golden color. Now we're gonna go ahead and finish this other cheek, and then we're gonna go back to our very first dark brown color and kind of round this out so that she's not too, too yellow. And that's the great thing about these pencils, is as you go along, if you need to go back and change it or add a different color in, you can. Now, before we do that, I'm going to go over to this dark flesh tone. It's number P008, and it's just, that's all it is just a dark flesh. I'm going to add that on the top of her nose. As kind of a highlight. And the apples of her cheeks. And that kind of cuts the yellow a little too. Kind of brings her down from that extreme sun-kissed look. Now we'll go back to that very beginning raw umber, and I'm going to go back into the shadowy areas just like we did at the very beginning. And I'm just going to darken those up again and bring that reddish oxblood color back in. You can see how easy it is to work with chalks. You just have to be patient. You have to plan the colors that you want to go into the picture, and then just sort of map your way around the face and add them as you go. The nice thing about it is they're very layerable, and so if you're, if you're working away and you're like, oh, you know what, I really want to make her lighter, it's possible to do that with chalks. If you want to make her darker, it's possible to do that with chalks. So they're very versatile. They're very forgiving. I enjoy working with them. I don't work with them very often, but I enjoy them when I do. And they give you some really, really beautiful portraits, as you can see there. Let me zoom out. And it really fills up the page. You know, you can't see the tooth of the page at all underneath. And, you know, and it's minimally messy. You're going to get it on your fingers. But, you know, I think the biggest thing that most people don't like is, you know, it doesn't set immediately. You have to spray it. And you do need to spray it once you're done. And you have to accommodate that when you're working on the rest of your picture. You know, you have to plan for that in advance. If you're going to be doing paint for the rest of your picture or regular pencils for the rest of your picture, working it out so that your hand isn't in the way or dragging through the portrait so that you're, you know, smearing it, or being okay with spraying something on there to set it before you work on the rest of it. So I will add a Krylon link in the description below so that you can spray it with some finishing varnish. And, you know, I think that that will work out very well for you guys. If you found this video helpful, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I hope you'll do so. And if you haven't already joined my Badass Art group over on Facebook, I will put a link in the description below. I hope you'll come join me. Come and share your badass artwork with me. Okay, everybody, I will see you next time.